Welcome back, everybody. Super excited to be recording this episode. By the time it comes out, it will be my birthday. It's a big one. I'm turning 30. I'm surprisingly super excited to be turning 30. Yeah, I mean, I feel like lots have changed. I've grown so much. I pushed myself into something that I had been passionate about, and that was doing this podcast with the support of my friends and family, and that has been amazing. It's been a pretty amazing year, actually. I was thinking about it the other day. The past couple years, COVID definitely just set me back. That being said, still worked on myself, still dated, and pushed myself to grow. Yeah, I mean, 29 has been fucking awesome. Truly such an amazing year. I went to Europe twice. I used to go on a trip to Europe once a year as a treat to myself for working so hard. And, COVID put a pause on that. And last year, my best friend was turning 30. She really wanted to do Oktoberfest. My aunt so happens to be living in Germany for the past few years. And I hadn't visited her because of COVID. So we did a trip and we were able to work remote for part of it. And we're there for like almost a month. Obviously not off of work the whole time, but we did take a good like week and a half off to do Oktoberfest. We went to Portugal. It was really cool. I mean, it was just awesome. And earlier that year, I went to Greece because I hadn't been on a trip in, a couple of years out of the country, and my aunt was doing something and I had the vacation days and I was like, YOLO, I gotta get out of this country and do something for me. And usually that is going to Europe if I can. And especially because the first year that I worked, I didn't like take any vacation days because I was like, oh, I got to prove that I'm a hard worker. And I was contracted and really wanted to get a full time offer. And thankfully I did. So after that, I went on vacation. It had been a year of working and I hadn't taken like a true vacation. So I was like literally needed it as a mental health vacation. So that was fun. But like when you need a vacation, like you're so desperate because you've pretty much almost burnt yourself out. I feel like it's a different experience than like taking it because you should treat yourself and not waiting until you're like on the brink of a mental breakdown. So a lesson learned there, but every year after that, I planned a trip for myself. It would usually literally start with just me because it can be hard to plan a trip with your friends, especially I feel like a lot of my friends do things throughout the year. So I would save up for this big trip and I did Italy. I ended up inviting my dad. He came with. That was amazing. One year I did Croatia. My mom came and it was the World Cup that year. So that was really awesome to be in Croatia when they were still in the World Cup and they made it to the finals. Super surreal to be like at a restaurant watching the game, seeing the locals get so excited. It was just like infectious, their energy. I mean, and the food and the vibes were amazing. And I also did France. That was my first solo vacation. I went there for like almost 2 weeks by myself. That is when I needed just a mental health break and I couldn't imagine like, and no offense to anyone that I travel with, but traveling, having to honestly consider someone else. I just had spent a year of just like not taking time for myself that I selfishly was like, I need to do this. And it was especially hard because I don't speak any French and like Spanish I speak and Italian I know basic words, can get around enough, but French I don't know anything. So that one was hard, but almost therapeutic at the same sense because I had a lot of time to reflect about just the past year and how I wanted to move forward in life in terms of really finding balance between my work and my friends and my personal life. So I am grateful for that time to really just like think. Spent lots of time on laying on the beach and eating french fries and drinking rosé. It was magical. So, that being said, I have had a great decade. I have loved my 20s. I have traveled so much. I am proud of myself. I've worked hard in order to travel and been on lots of adventures. And I spent the last year doing what I love, which was traveling and spending time with my friends. And I also fell in love, and that was unexpected. I definitely knew I was ready for I was ready for a relationship. I'd spent my entire 20s and single. I hadn't had a boyfriend since high school. I've talked about in other episodes. I learned a lot from my first relationship, and which I am very appreciative of. One of the biggest things I learned was just to really protect myself in the sense of not settling because you do want that companionship and love, and it's okay to want that, and it's okay, some people do settle, but I just knew I didn't want to basically not take care of me or put certain things that I wanted aside for another person again. Yeah, I just wanted to feel comfortable talking about my passions or my family or just honestly my dreams and goals and my friends, and having a partner that also would want to really like be a ride or die and do things with me. And granted, when you're in high school and relationships, looking back, like, yeah, obviously not everyone's at that level, and young love, that's you have some blinders on. I mean, not for everyone. Some people do meet their person in high school, and I think that's amazing that you can do that and you grow. And I know people that have are still in relationships and they met in high school, and it's beautiful to see them grow together, and especially through all those different life stages and changes you go through. I feel like between high school and your 30s, I admire them, and I think that's amazing. Everyone has a different journey, obviously. In my journey, I was also in New York and mesmerized by the city and having my own love affair with the city and trying to make friends. So my love life didn't always get prioritized. So this past year, I did really focus. The past couple of years did really focus on dating and dating more intentionally, and was able to be introduced to my current boyfriend, and we did long distance for over a year, and now he moved to New York eventually for a couple months, and then we moved to California together, and it's been a beautiful journey. I love seeing him interact with my family, and I honestly just love spending time with him. Sometimes I'm like, I've grown too attached to this person, which I suppose is not a bad thing. It's not an unhealthy level of attached, but I do really enjoy just, his company, and can't imagine last time that I've enjoyed a guy's like company this much, but I think it just speaks to our connection and the fact that we did really establish a solid friendship and emotional connection um, before some of the physical things. And obviously, like, physical is important for me, emotional connection, and same for my boyfriend. That is really important too, because at the end of the day, like, as they say, looks do fade, and you're left with a personality. And also in those like hard, dark times that you may face at some point in your life, you really need someone that's gonna lift you up and bring you out of that darkness. And I mean, so far my boyfriend has been that for me, and I hope I've been that for him. I think I have. So 29 was amazing, and 30 is going to be just as great or even better. I cannot wait. I am determined to make it back to Europe in at some point while I'm 30. I wasn't able to make it to Europe this year. I did go twice last year, but because of the move and everything. But yeah, that being said, this long introduction is leading me into the purpose of this week's episode, which is youthful dreams. We have these goals and we have no idea what it takes to accomplish them yet, but they sound so mesmerizing. And then some of us, spend the rest of part of our lives working to achieve those, or discovering new things and growing, and then having new goals and dreams and passions, and all of that, comes to, I don't want to say an end, because I don't think it should, but sometimes the dreams, vocalizing them dies down a bit because life happens and some of us start families or have jobs and we have bills and we are focusing more on the day-to-day responsibilities than our dreams. And I just wanted to take the time to talk about youthful dreams and the importance of them. I feel like as adults, it's so important that we still find ways to keep growing. And time and day and age, I feel like there's so much happening in the world, and we're all just trying to honestly get by and keep our mental sanity and mental health, and youthful dreams or the idea of them, I feel like are overlooked, or just some of us don't have time to honestly really sit down and think about what our dreams are. Even though we're adults, we still have dreams and goals and can still grow as people and experience new things and push our, loved ones to do the same for the better. Like some people, like not everyone needs to grow, but I just personally am like, why not, So for me, going into 30, I am focused on and some of the ways I feel like as adults we can, rechannel those youthful dreams are tip number 1 would be, manifesting the future. And I know I've spoken a bit about manifesting, and I definitely want to get more into breaking down manifesting, how sharing more about my journey, how I got into it. But just for today's episode purposes, I would say manifesting the future is really visualizing to yourself, what do I want my future to look like? Whether it's the next year, in the next 5 years, what do I want for myself? And in all aspects of life, what do I want professionally? What do I want personally? What do I want in terms of my relationships with my friends and my family? Really visualizing that. And for me, I like to put pen to paper and actually write it down like in a notebook and then focusing on that. So not just writing it down and thinking about it for 5 seconds. You really need to take time and look at that paper, think about it, have those thoughts, and then start to take those thoughts and make sure your actions are aligned with these dreams and goals that you want for yourself for the next year. Because manifesting isn't just you say something like, I want to win the lottery or I want to lose 5 pounds, and then you just do nothing and sit on your ass. And then that's not what manifesting is. It takes a lot of practice, and it is very mentally takes a lot of dedication to match your thoughts to your actions and be intentional with how you're thinking and really focusing, spending more energy on what you want to bring to reality versus the opposite. And what I mean by that is, let's say, for instance, you're single and you just want to be in a relationship. So if I was going to manifest me being in a relationship, I would also start with the way that I'm thinking and say, and instead of saying, oh, I'm so tired of being single. I just don't want to be single anymore. Why can't I find a guy that likes me enough, just like I like them, and blah blah blah. So you've just spent all of your energy talking about thinking about how you don't want to be single anymore, how you can't find a partner that, likes you just as much as you like them, all of that jazz. For someone who wants to actually manifest, your reality, I would pivot my thinking to, I am ready for a relationship and a partner to share my life with and to grow with, and then taking it a step further as to what does that partner look like? What are the characteristics of them, not just physically but truly, like as a whole person, human being. And so, and by doing that, you're spending more of your thoughts and energy focusing on what you really want. And then, the next step is also matching your actions. So, like, you want a life partner you're ready to share life with. Are you actively putting yourself out there, dating? When you are dating, are you trying to date people that are aligned with the same things that you want? Do you even know what you want in life? It's a lot of it is being intentional with your thoughts and your actions, and honestly positive thinking, like overcoming that fear and not giving into that spending your energy focused on the fear or the result you don't want, and the focusing on the outcome that you do want, and leaning into positive thinking, silencing that little pessimistic voice in your head and turning up the optimistic voice in your head. And you can still be a realist and in touch with reality and practice positive thinking. I do it every day. And anyone who knows me knows that I say it how it is. And I'm not just, frolicking around, manifesting things, like living in this dystopian universe. I am living in the real world, and still manifesting lots of things for myself. So that is my tip and advice on channeling, those youthful dreams, even when you're an adult, and not letting society or just life get you down so much that you feel like you can't manifest, new goals for yourself and dreams. Life is long, and, I feel like you owe it to yourself to pursue a dream that you might have, as little or big as it is, and believing in yourself. You've gotten this far, and nobody's life is perfect. Mine definitely is not, but you can do it if you just put your mind to it. And I'm sure there's some things that we've all done in our lives where we're like, we wanted it enough that we got it. Obviously, winning the lottery, different story, out of our hands. But there is a lot that we can control in our day to day lives that I think we forget we have the ability to control, because there's so many factors or just people involved, whether it be work or personal life, that feels like we don't have the control. But I would just sit back and really think to yourself, can I control this? I mean, if it's truly in your control, then you can. You obviously can't control other people, but you can control what you spend your time and energy to, and communicate with your loved ones or your spouse or your partner if needed. If you need that extra support to pursue, a goal or a dream, I think that we all deserve to keep dreaming at whatever age. And ideally, the people around you will provide you with that support. And if not, you always have the support here. I am a huge proponent of people growing and following their passions and dreams. I mean, I just followed a passion of mine in the past year and launched my podcast. Well, really this year. And thanks to a lot of support from my boyfriend and, I mean, friends, and especially Rose, my former podcast co-host, I don't know I don't know when I would have launched my podcast if I didn't have people in my life that were really like looking out for me and wanting the best for me and wanting me to grow and live a fulfilled life. So I'm very grateful for that. It does help to have some people in your corner, just like you had on the playground, or in the quad, or your little lunch crew in high school. It helps to have those people in your life that are truly looking out for you and pushing you when maybe you can't even push yourself. Or you want to, but life has happened and you're juggling so many things that you've deprioritized your dreams. I've been there, and I'm sure it happened. It's so easy for that to happen. Those are some tips on how to keep pursuing your dreams at any age. And while they may feel youthful, they're just a part of you growing. Um, and you wanting to keep tapping into that curiosity of life and learning. There's so much to learn in life. So I would say take advantage of it, whether it be gardening, or maybe it's learning how to meal prep, or learning how to honestly work out, because working out there are, you can hurt yourself if you're not knowing what you're doing and taking it on and not taking the proper steps to, potentially watch videos or go to the gym so you can learn proper form. There's so many small little ways that you can explore youthful dreams. And maybe it is even a career change, to do something that you've always wanted to do that you may have never had the guts to do because that logical side of you was like, oh, but I need this degree or this and this to be able to, be taken seriously or do this thing. There's so much out there now in the world, um, especially with technology. It's a beautiful thing that I just really encourage everyone to take a moment today and think about a youthful dream that you have. Maybe you had before, but you no longer want to pursue, but a dream now that you have that you would like to accomplish maybe in the next year. And write it down, whether that's in your phone or on a notebook. Write it down and come back to it the next day and see if it's something that, you're still sparks some interest to you. And if it does, take the next steps, whichever they are that you need to do to accomplish it. Whether it's talking to your spouse or rearranging your schedule so you can maybe fit in whatever that thing is, or maybe it's just self-care and self-love. But take the time to think about one youthful dream that you have that you would like to accomplish and practice manifesting it. And we can do it together. This episode is coming out on my 30th birthday. So, I mean, I'm not going to share my birthday wish with you guys because I don't even, these stupid superstitions, like, dear, I wish that's not going to come true. See, I don't know who told us why, like, who started that rumor, and why did we all believe it? It's kind of silly if you think about it. So that being said, one of my youthful dreams, because obviously I would like to have more. Why would I only have one? Like, bring on the dreams, bring on the manifesting, bring on like me thriving, continuing to thrive. So I'm gonna say mine is going on going to Europe and hopefully with my boyfriend because he's never been. Um, but at least for me going to Europe, and if it's not with my boyfriend, I would like to have it be like a girls trip with some of my close girlfriends or even just like, I mean, one of my best friend who, we've traveled together a lot. So European trip because I'm 30 and I've decided that in this next year of life, I'm going to treat myself so much because I work so hard and I've grown so much this past year that I just want to celebrate all of my growth and this perspective and outlook I have on life and have cool adventures and experiences and share those with you, um anyone who's listening, and honestly just like have them for myself. So Europe trip in my 30s, maybe not to the extent that I did my best friend's 30th, but definitely for at least a couple weeks, taking time off. I would love to go back to Italy so bad. It's been a minute since I've been there. So that is my dream. I hope you tried this exercise, and we are going to be checking in on progress made for this trip on my end. And I encourage you to find an accountability partner on your end. I will definitely be an advocate and partner for you through the podcast, but in your day to day life, it helps to find at least one person, that, and maybe it'll be a fun challenge or bond that you can have, to encourage them to think of a dream or goal for this next year. And you guys can keep each other accountable, like checking in. How are they doing? Are they making progress towards accomplishing that goal? because, it's easy to set a goal, but then not take steps like actively to achieve it. And I feel like that happens more often than not sometimes. And then people look back and they're like, oh, yeah, this was just too hard. But if you really think about it, like, were you actively, intentionally taking steps every day to accomplish that goal? Or did you just like set it, kind of pay attention to it, not really, and then it's like, "Oh, I maybe that just wasn't in the cards for me." Because if that's the case, then you're not doing yourself you're doing yourself a disservice because you're not really taking the time that you need to accomplish it. So, that is my loving way to say, find an accountability partner, keep doing you. I think setting goals is exciting. I just do because I feel like I've had so many goals in the past year and I'm meeting them. I've really wanted to find a partner and I found a boyfriend, manifested him. I wanted to move back to California. I managed to do that. I wanted to find an apartment. My mom helped me with that and it's amazing and I love it so much. And yeah, I wanted to be near family and I mean, I'm away from my friends, but I still am trying to keep in touch with them pretty frequently. And I also started a podcast and that has been amazing. I didn't realize I wanted to start a podcast. I knew I was obsessed with them. I honestly was telling Marco the other day, maybe I didn't believe in myself that I could do it or didn't even know where to start. Um, but once I did have it in my well, once I did have it in my head that I wanted to do it, um, and found, a co-host, and then for those of you who've been listening, Rose was with me for, I mean, almost 6 months, and it was amazing, but I have done it, I started a podcast. I've had it for 6 months now. I wanted to have weekly episodes, and I have done that, and some weeks 2 episodes a week, and had great social content, still going to be creating more great social content, and I really wanted to share my journey for growth and how I am growing and pushing myself to grow with you, everyone who's listening, and I feel like I am really doing that. It isn't easy every week to be vulnerable and just talk into a mic and feel like I'm ranting, as I tell Margot. Um, it doesn't always come naturally to me. I do love talking, don't get me wrong. That comes naturally to me. Uh, but there is still ways that I'm pushing myself as a creator, and especially now that I'm hosting solo. So I just wanted to share that with you because I know from listening it could feel like, wow. I mean, who knows what you're thinking, but I guess I'm just saying I'm still figuring it out, but I am growing so much as I do it. And I am so happy to be going into my 30s as a podcast host. And I'm going to be challenging myself as a creator. And this next year, I can only imagine all of the things to come. I mean, I'm starting to interview people for the podcast and will be hopefully in this next year launching an email and emails that are going to be, great content coming at you for any of you who subscribe. Highly recommend you do. And merch and just continuing to do me and be a boss and bring good vibes and good energy to wherever you're listening to this podcast. And also hopefully you engage with the social content because it also is like a mood booster in your day. That's really honestly the intention of it, whether that be to laugh, to, just like get that chill vibe, but all of it be intentional and helping you in your journey, whether you're trying to grow or you're just listening to this podcast every week because you love the sound of my voice and can't get enough of it, or you are someone who is on the cusp of like, am I creative? Do I have a passion? What is my passion? How do I find that out? That is something that I will continue exploring and discussing and talking about as, um, I continue the podcast, and especially as I start to interview other entrepreneurs and creators and hearing more about, how they've discovered their passion and how they're continuing to grow. Um, because a lot of us are creative and a lot of us are passionate about a lot of things, whether that be hobbies or TV shows. I mean, I definitely am passionate about a lot of TV shows, but passion, I feel like, is something that is universal. It just takes a little bit of tapping into and focusing to really find that thing that you're passionate about, that's really like just for you. And I mean, it took me 28 years of lots of trial and error, to really find and hone in on this podcast, and I'm so grateful for it, and I'm grateful to you all for listening. Thank you so much for the support. I By the time this is out, I will be 30. That's exciting. Doing a fun birthday dinner with my family, and I'm very excited to be getting to celebrate being near them since it's been a very long time. Honestly, I mean, I haven't really celebrated a birthday in the past 12 years at home this big because it's always summertime and people are traveling, and I'm just also not someone who always celebrates himself a ton, but this year I am doing it all. I ordered myself some Baked by Melissa's cupcakes. They do a special zodiac box. It's a little extra, but I'm like, it's my birthday, so yes. Zodiac box, Virgo, Queen over here. So the flavors are all selected based on your zodiac sign. And I think that's exciting. So that's coming on the eve of my birthday so that I can have it in the morning and then munch on them all day. I took the day off for my birthday and the rest of the week. Super excited. I'm gonna get to work on the podcast. I already have things lined up and planned. Um, so that's super great. Spending time like, my whole day on my passion. My best friend is coming to visit from New York. I can't wait. And it's just gonna be a good time. Oh, and I'm gonna treat myself to a spa. I've never really treated myself. Well, I haven't ever been to like a proper spa. I've been to a hot spring or something when I was in Europe, but I'm treating myself to a spa, and yeah, I mean, it's gonna honestly, it's been a long time since I've had a birthday where usually I buy myself something nice, but I feel like I'm just been really intentional leading into the birthday of really celebrating myself and a lot of self-love because I have worked so hard this year and I've grown so much, and I just want to celebrate that and celebrate all that is to come. And Marco's birthday is also in a few weeks, so I'm like trying to just enjoy my birthday because I'm also very excited and already on ideas for his. So, that being said, I love you all and I can't wait to be back for another episode. And I will talk to you soon. Au revoir. Ciao. Just testing something out, honestly. We'll see if it works, but bye.
Music and editing done by Marco. You can find him at midnight, MIDNITE_mind80 on Instagram for more of his work.